Hey, how you guys doing today? So today, while I was just working, this thought came into my head of this is your lot in life. And it wasn't because I was doing anything specific, it just came to mind. And so I started thinking about it, and I was thinking deeply about it. Then I went and I started researching it and looking at it. And of course, my initial thought was that it came from the story of Lot in the Bible with Abraham and things that had occurred to him. And so all my research was saying that it pretty much comes from the same place, the same idea. So I went back and I started thinking about, okay, what's going on with this dude Lot? What's the problem? What's going on? So when I look at Lot, his story is that his uncle was commissioned by God to go and do and go out and do this thing, to leave his family. He had this great opportunity, and Lot, being his nephew, not his son but his nephew, saw the opportunity and said, I'm gonna go and follow my uncle, and we're gonna take this great opportunity that God has shown us. So they get out there and things is going pretty good, and their wealth starts growing, everything starts happening for them. The wives are happy, everybody's doing that real well. Then there becomes this issue between Lot and his men who work for him, and Abraham and his guys who work for them. And so they get into an argument, and Abraham says, hey dude, you're my nephew, so you don't have to go anywhere, but if you want to split up, you choose where you want to go. You take the best of whatever you want to do. I'm leaving it up to you. Being a good guy, taking care of his nephew. And so Lot goes ahead and he leaves. Now, once Lot leaves, he goes and he lives in Sodom. He has about 318 people with him. That's how big his company had gotten by that time frame. And while he's living there, the Amorites come and conquer, and they take over. And then Abraham has to go save Lot. Now, after Abraham saves Lot, you would think that Lot would say, ooh, I made a mistake. Let me go back and hang out with my uncle. Nah. So Lot goes back to Sodom. And then later on in the story, when Sodom is getting ready to be destroyed, Abraham says, he tried to convince, the angels not to destroy it, but his nephew Lot's there, so they send some people to go and let Lot know. And so he does some, little crazy things, trying to give up his daughter in order to protect the dudes in his house from the mob. But eventually Lot leaves. But even in his leaving, his wife, who must have changed her mindset or changed her personality from the time they lived in Sodom, she was still like captivated by the city of degradation and all that stuff. And she looks back, she turns to a pillar of salt. Then his daughters, who they were cool at first, thought the world was ended, nobody else was on the planet, get their dad drunk and have sex with him. Lot in life, just a life full of misery. Yeah, so had a customer. But so yeah, they just one the bad decision after the next, and it all spiraled after he made that first bad decision. So our lot in life, how many times do you have to continue to date or marry the same personality, or be around the same personality of friends and family, before you learn that your lot in life will continue to be horrible or stressful or very difficult? How many times will you keep making that same decision before you stop? How many times will you continue to overextend yourself financially by taking on bills and houses or cars or things like that, credit cards that you really can't afford, or maxing out a credit card? You really can't afford, or taking loans that you can't afford, until you finally stop and change your lot in life. How many times will you consistently go to the hospital or have pains and issues and aches in your body, and continue to eat the same bad foods, or drink too much alcohol, smoke weed, or do drugs, or whatever it is that you're doing that's affecting your physical health, until you stop and change your lot in life? Your children are watching you, your family is watching you, your friends are watching, your coworkers, everybody is watching you. And what they consistently see is you making the same bad decisions over and over and over and over and over again. But your lot in life can change as soon as you decide that, when you recognize that you're making these same bad decisions, when you recognize that personality of somebody that you're romantically involved in, and that you may need to stop the romance. When you recognize that here's another financial opportunity that looks exactly like the one before, but it has holes in it, and you know where it ends, that you stop. When you recognize that here's a new employee and this new employee has the same negative or bad or wasteful attitude as the one that just previously left, and you know where that ends and that leads you, and you can't hang around that person. When do you change your lot in life? You get those credit card offers. Many of you are getting your tax returns and everybody's saying, come get a new car, come get a new car, come get a new car. But you know that right now you can't afford one, or that you need to keep driving the same one you have to keep yourself from being overly extended. When do you change your lot in life? By making different decisions. And that's all it really is you making a different decision, that when you recognize here's that thing that is destructive to me, and it may not be destructive to anybody else, but it's destructive for me. I can't make that same decision. I can't stay in this same environment. I cannot continue to do this to myself, because guess what? You're greater than that. You're better than that. Like I told you guys, my greatness is non-negotiable, and it's non-negotiable because once I see and recognize the issue, to recognize the pattern, you gotta make the change. You gotta stop, pump the brakes, and make the change. And you can. All you have to do is decide, and then take the action necessary to make a change, to do it differently, to do whatever the opposite is of that thing. And yes, some people will be hurt. Yes, some people will tell you no. And yes, you may even find yourself alone. But that loneliness only lasts for a bit, only for a minute. And as you start making the better decision, you will then find greatness. You will then find happiness. You will then find yourself to be more powerful than you ever imagined. Your lion, your lioness can come out and roar, because your greatness is non-negotiable. So guys, here's the thing. When you recognize it, if you see it now, if it's going on now, stop, change it. Make a different decision, act differently, take different actions, and let your lion, your lioness roar. Put your crown on, be the king and queen that you are, and make sure that your greatness is non-negotiable.